you. We have about 7 minutes left. Ray Suarez was delayed in getting here, but he's here now, and we're all the better for it. Do you want to have any observations you want to make, or especially from your? Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on.
If you need to get to your nation's capital from New York, find another way besides Amtrak. It's my first recommendation. We are now at we're seeing writ large in these various ways the problem. But the fundamental, it starts from the fundamental that this government does not believe that it has any responsibility to talk to the press. It does not believe it has any responsibility to be transparent or accountable. So if they can fob you off with a lie, there's very little second thought about that. They'll lie to you, and then once you go to print or go to air, they'll say that you covered the story incorrectly or didn't have the right facts. They understand that newsrooms have been denuded and decimated and emptied out, so that a lot of people are working on daily deadlines or every other daily deadlines, and if they just don't call you back, you'll go to air or to print without them. That, no matter what we were covering, that would be a major impediment. So there are journalists covering other things besides immigration that are running up against that too, because this government does not believe it has any responsibility to tell the public about what it's up to and how it does what it does. So when we start from there, recently I was at the border. They do certain things overtly and are very happy to show you their gizmos and the tremendous things they've built on the border and the steel curtain walls and the concrete barriers. They're very big on that. But when you ask them about numbers and locations and how people are being processed and where they go and how many are in detention, they don't want to tell you, so they don't tell you. And they tell you somebody else who can tell you, who you then call 1,000,000 times, who never calls you back. And then you have to, at some point, you have to cut bait and move on without them. They know that. This is not a secret to them, that they are dealing with a business that's on the back foot, dealing with reporters who have maybe 3 or 4 different things that they're working on at any given time, so they can delay as a way of just slowing the gears of this whole thing. If you want to find out where someone taken into detention is in the system, you can't, because they don't feel that they have to tell you. Add to that the existence of an atomized business that's been broken up into 10,000 little pieces. And when you see these crazy collars where masked guys are throwing people on the floor, there's a cluster of people around them with phones in their hands, taking their picture. Some of them are reporters. Some of them are not reporters. Some of them say they're reporters because they're going to try to sell this thing that they're taking a picture of to somebody, because news organizations actually can't send people out into the field to wait for something to happen anymore, because you're covering a city the size of Houston or Chicago with 3 crews on the street. And it's only a matter of time till somebody gets really, really hurt, because they are pushing people, they're hitting people, they're knocking them over, they're throwing them down, and there's going to be legit people who are trying to cover the news who are going to get hurt. And again, in a world of impunity and no accountability, serious stuff is going to go down. So, I mean, the biggest threat to the understood social order of the United States is that we now have a federal government that doesn't feel that it has to tell the truth about its operations to the people of the country. And when you start from there, everything else that follows, whether you're covering the FAA or the FDA or you're covering the Park Service, anything, it has become so much harder to find anything out. You spin your wheels for hours trying to get a PIO to actually let you talk to the person who knows the answers to the questions that you have. And that's a kind of basic, baseline problem that it's really hard to get around. In the case of immigration, we're dealing with life and death. We're dealing with people that they're sending to Libya, which has been mired in civil war and disorder for the last 15 years. We're sending people that we're picking up who are working in restaurants and food processing plants in major American cities, and we're talking about sending them to Libya and the Congo and Rwanda and all kinds of places on the planet where weak regimes that want something out of the Trump administration are willing to agree to whatever terms the United States government sets. It's a, you know, if you ask a journalist when the most recent bad time was, their answer is always right now, because things have been on a pretty bad trajectory for a while. But now it's like really right now. And it feels sometimes like these statements are hyperbolic and exaggerated, but they're not. This is the really, really bad time now. And when you have a business that is trying to rebuild the plane at 35,000 feet over the country somewhere, and we don't have the kind of heft, the kind of understood respect, because the well has been poisoned for half the country that doesn't believe the things we say. Here we are working as hard as we work to try to find out the truth, to try to be accurate, to try to know whether it's 10 instead of 6 or 6 instead of 2, and half the country thinks that we make things up. I've had conversations with people who believe that we make things up. And I said to them, look, you know, I traveled 100,000 miles last year. It would have been so much easier and a lot less wear and tear on this sexagenarian body to just stay home and make things up. I'm a very creative guy. I could have done that. But they believe that, and once you lose them, once you lose that faith that we are actually beating our brains out trying to do a good job for them, you've lost something very important. But we now are dealing also with a government that knows that it's successfully poisoned the well in this way. And I don't know how we get out of this vicious cycle, but we're in trouble. And you got it. And read my book.
Okay. All right, we've reached the magic hour. Carice had one